Hi and welcome to this tutorial for the Ruth Storage Boxes by Notch. It's going to show you how to make these 3 different storage boxes. Comes in 3 different sizes. They're super easy to make, are fully lined and great for storing all your sewing bits. So let's get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is cut out your fabric, and then you want to cut out the interfacing and attach that to the exterior fabric. So I've already done that here so you can see the interfacing on that side. You want to put the 2 exterior pieces of the box together, right sides together, and pin those around the edge. Now my fabric warped slightly when I was ironing on the interfacing, so you may just want to trim the sides to make sure that everything is going to line up nicely. Then stitch those 2 pieces together with a 1 cm seam allowance, going down the 2 side seams and also the base, but leave the corners for now. And you'll want to do exactly the same with the lining pieces, so right sides together, pin them together and stitch around the edge with a 1 cm seam allowance. But at the bottom, make sure you leave a few centimetres, probably around 4 centimetres, so that we can turn it through. So just leave that gap while you're stitching, and again, leave the corners for later. Now we're going to sew the corners. So pinch the fabric together so that you can line up those raw edges. You're going to want to line up the bottom seam with the side seam and line up the raw edges of the interfacing and the fabric. Make sure that when you're sewing it so that the seam allowance is as flat as possible, so pushing that to one side will really help, or opening up the seam if necessary. Pin those together and then carefully stitch those with a 1 cm seam allowance. Turn through the exterior piece of the box and make sure to push all the corners out carefully. Then repeat exactly the same thing with the lining piece. Then trim off any loose threads and make sure that your outside of the box is turned right sides facing out, but keep your lining inside out. We now take the outside piece of the box and put it inside the lining, which is inside out. You want to match up the 2 side seams and the raw edges all around the edge. I'm just going to zoom in here so that you can see a little bit better. So you really want to push that outside piece in to make sure that it's right the way in and you're going to get a nice finish around the edge. Start by matching the side seams, and then you can go and finish around the edge, matching the raw edges of the fabric at the top. Then sew that with a 1 cm seam allowance. Now you want to identify the area in the lining that you left open, and you want to push the box out through that. So you're turning it through so that the lining will not be inside out anymore, and all of your seams will be nice and hidden. So you do want to be careful when you're doing this not to rip the seams open anymore. Push everything through as best you can. You can iron it later, but it's best to just push everything through as much as possible to begin with. And then take the lining back out, fold the opening closed, and use the same colour thread to stitch that closed. Make sure you iron everything really nicely, and if you like, you could top stitch around that top edge to give it a nice finish, and fold over the top, and then you've finished. Repeat that with the other 2 sizes and you'll have 3 lovely storage boxes.